Welcome to Into the Mind of a Madman, and you're now here with me, the Madman. Thank you. Today, I want to discuss the breakup of the Joe Budden Podcast. It means a lot to me because I have been a supporter of Joe Budden for a very long time, since the mixtape days back, 2001, 2002. You know, if you see the shirt, the hoodie, yeah, I'm a long time supporter and I still support. I'm friends of the show on Patreon. I watch every podcast, or rather, listen to every podcast. I still support Rory and Maul, and I listen to their podcast. I support them on Patreon too. I'm the in the $25 tier too. Sorry about that. But the reason I wanted to talk about this, being a supporter, it really gave me a good lesson. And I wanted to share that lesson with the people. And is I want to share this lesson with the people who are looking to be entrepreneurs, business owners, or partners, uh, whatever in that nature. Because I want to say I do believe it's Joe's fault, like the whole situation. It is his fault, but the lesson is in how everything came, right? How everything came about, that what added up to the breakup. And that's what I'm here to discuss in the lesson in that. I want to start off by giving you the lesson first. The overall lesson that should be taken away from the Joe Budden podcast breakup between Rory Maul and Joe Budden is, if you are if you are a owner of something, whatever it be, a podcast, t-shirts, jewelry, waters, any type of business that you want to start, and it is your vision, if you do not have plans to share in the wealth of that business when the business starts to make money, you need to pay anybody who helps you along the way. Let's break that down. What you want to create, what you do not want to create, is entitlement. What you do not want to create is a sense of ownership. Even though somebody may view you as the owner, this is your baby, this is your idea, you do not want to create an entitlement because they help you along the way. So the best way to combat that, or not, the best way to combat that is to pay them. I'm not saying pay them what they're worth, because I understand this is a startup. You may not have the necessary funds to pay them exactly their worth, but you have to pay them something, and consistently, whether it is once a week, every 2 weeks, once a month, once a quarter, whatever the breakdown you can afford. Like if you still go to work, or you got a little bit of funds coming in, or how the breakdown is in your financial situation, you need to pay them consistently so it doesn't develop a sense of entitlement and ownership. Now, keep this in mind, because when I start to break down how the podcast went wrong, because it was years worth of buildup. And when I start breaking down how the podcast went wrong, you'll see my correlation at the end of this. Now, like I said, I've been a supporter of Joe Budden for a long time. Bought his first album. got his merch on right now. Still support him through Patreon and my viewership via YouTube and Spotify and SoundCloud and whatever. I'm a truck driver, so I mostly listen to the podcast. But I want to say it all started. We have to take it back to when Joe Budden was an artist at Def Jam. We all know he bucks the system. He finds things in contracts or whatever's going on in the situation he doesn't like, and he doesn't necessarily just sit there and wait it out. He bucks the system. He finds a way to get out. That's the start of the psyche. I mean, not to take it back to his childhood or anything like that, but that's the psyche of when I get my own thing going, when I want what I want out of my situation, I need to carry it a certain way. I need to hold certain standards. So we're gonna start off with that idea, right? This podcast is gonna be something more like a therapeutic look into it from a fan's perspective, a true fan's perspective. I do not know these people. These are my thoughts on solely listen to the podcast on both ends and deducing my opinion on it, right? From their actual words out their mouth. So you start off at Def Jam. Doesn't like how that goes. Now when I get my own situation, I want to run it and move how I want to move. Now that carries itself throughout all his recording deals, right? From E1 into the Shady situation. Now let's bring it all the way to Shady. Slaughterhouse, to be exact. We all know the Slaughterhouse didn't go as well. Well, didn't go as planned, I should say. And we all seen the breakup of Slaughterhouse. We all know how that went. One of Joe's biggest gripes about the Slaughterhouse situation was the voting system. When it came to, I guess, how to conduct business and how to go about, I guess, certain records or whatever, overall, he hated the voting system. He understood that it was 4 people in this group, including, I guess, Eminem and Paul and whoever else had a hand in it. But I understand, as far as the group, I know he said out his mouth, he hated the voting system. That he, like I said, he more so never went along with the system. So if it's 3 people going along with the system because that's kind of what they know, he's always looking at it from a outside perspective. So he tend to get outvoted on certain things. And that's one of the things he hated. All right, we got that down. Now we push forward. We push forward to his podcast situation. The start of, I'll name this podcast later. When he started the podcast, it was him, I know Rory, Marissa, and it was supposed to be Peter Rosenberg. That happened is his own situation. Later on, like Peter didn't, that was done. Marissa got fired. And then Roy stepped in. I mean, Roy was there. Maul stepped in to assist after Marissa was fired. Now, as they tell it, they there was no money to be made. There's no money to be dished out at this point. Everything is solely, we're homies. We been knowing each other. It's cool. We coming in. We gonna do this podcast. Cool. Now let's take a pause right here to, like, from what I said earlier. I understand, Joe, this is your IP. I understand, Joe, this is your baby. This is what you work to do. You put in the most work. You may have paid for studio time. You pay for cameras. You pay for microphones. You paying for engineers. You paying for editing. All of these things, I get it. When you don't want to be paid, or you want to be paid as the sole head top dog, you have to pay everybody else around you. If they're not in the middle, or they're not in the money when that comes in, you don't want them to be in the money, pay them. You asking, yo, just do this for me off the strength, yo, grind this out with me, yo, when we get yo, do this now, and when we get there later, and when the money start coming in, you gonna get hit off. You're wrong. Not, I mean, that you are creating a sense of entitlement and ownership. Step one, where you're wrong. This is why it was your fault on the breakup. No matter what the arguments was, you are creating a sense of entitlement and a sense of ownership when Rory and Maul comes into the studio working, giving up one day a week out their time, whether it's a couple hours or not, to do you a favor, do you a solid. If you do not want them in the boat, or you don't want them to captain the boat, pay them. You're creating an environment of entitlement. It's going to be a theme. It's a theme to this. Now the story continues. Y'all, I've been watching, I'll name this podcast later, for a while. Joe took ads. He used to take ads. I remember the MeUndies ads when y'all first did that, how hilarious that was. I remember the therapist ad. I remember that, how funny that was when y'all first read for that. Joe, I don't know if it was Joe Budden Podcast before that, or if it was I'll name this podcast later, but I'm pretty sure it was I'll name this podcast later when the ads were coming in. I'm bringing this up because Roy had mentioned, Joe, you told us we eat what we kill. Joe also confirmed, yes, I told them they eat what they kill. Meaning, if you brought in ads, you can have the lion's share of the ad, or however breakdown that was. If you can bring in an ad, then you can eat off the ad. Strike two. A mistake number two. Your fault number two. Whatever you want to make it, you are creating a sense of entitlement, a sense of ownership. If Rory and Maul are your employees, and they cannot, and you don't want them to share in the ownership, you do not give them the authority to go get ads. If they are going to speak on behalf of the company and your baby, then when the money comes, they're gonna feel like they did as much as you, whether it be whatever percentage it is. You get what I'm saying? So yes, you, like I said again, You go to sleep thinking about this. You bought the cameras. You paid for studio. You did whatever you did. You might feel like you're doing way more, but they feel like they are doing their part. So we move on. Now we get to contracts, Spotify deal. In the Spotify deal, you mentioned, Joe, that this is the time where everybody had to lawyer up, everybody had to go their separate ways, and all these things. Roy mentioned before the deal came, he brought to you and he brought to the group, yo, let's work out these contracts so when a deal comes, knowing that we're shopping this thing around, we'll have an understanding, ain't nobody gonna feel away, and all these things. You both agreed, you all agreed, not both, you, Rory, Maul, agreed that they got percentage net in their contract. Strike 3, fault 3, your fault 3. If they are employees, you either pay them by the hour or you pay them salary. You do not pay them a percentage, net, gross, or any otherwise, because percentage in a company means you are a partner in a company. I don't care how you slice it, you are a partner when you get paid percentage. Meaning, if you don't understand this, I'll break it down for you. Anybody works a 9 to 5, they get a pay stub. Your pay stub shows you your either salary pay at the end of week, 2 weeks, monthly, by monthly, 1st and the 15th, whatever your job is. You get a pay stub and you see what you've made throughout the pay period. Now, if you are percentage, how do you get a pay stub on percentage? How do you verify that your 5%, 11%, 20%, 50%, 75%, whatever percentage you are owed, how do you verify that? You have to know the total income, whether it's gross or net, that you need to know the total income so you know that you are getting paid the correct percentage. There's no other way around it. You, Joe, you cannot tell Rory and Maul when you pay them percentage that I'm not showing you my books. Audit me. There's no audit necessary. Rory and Maul do not have to audit you. You don't have to self-audit yourself. You just have to give it to them. You are paying them a percentage net. Anybody who doesn't understand net means after expenses or whatever you agreed on, after whatever that is. After, whether it be just after taxes, after expenses, after whatever. Gross is you get paid, like when the company gets paid, everything comes in, I'm getting a percentage of that. If you say net, that means you're opening yourself even more, because now the people you are saying net to, now they have say so, whether it is contractual or not, that in whatever the expenses are. I'm gonna get to that, Joe, because I heard your piece on, hey, I had it in the contract that certain things can't be negotiated, far as upgrading of the set, cameras, I guess people's salaries or whatever. I I understand this is your baby. I understand you are in charge of paying Parks for engineering, Savon for audio, or what, or uh cameras or whatever, editing, whatever. And I understand you didn't want Rory and Maul to come to you every step of the way and go, yo, why are you paying this person this? Why are you paying this person that? Why why are you buying more cameras? Why are you decorating it different? Whatever the case may be, I understand you may have put that in the contract to where they can't come and nag you about every expense when you feel like it's going to the betterment of the podcast. I do understand that. And if they agree to that, cool. Hey, I have no issue with that. My issue does come in if you saying to people, well, why are you asking me this? They are getting percentage net. They're gonna ask you because their pockets get affected when you do make these moves. So whether it's in the contract or not, you probably gonna hear about it. Employees make gripes, partners make gripes about other people and how their spending habits are when it comes to their pockets and how things are going. Whether it's contractual or not, the human in them will ask you, hey man, why you pay save on an increase, or why you paying them first class tickets or whatever. I don't know whatever it was. I'm just making things up at that point, but I'm just saying you cannot say that. You, I mean, I understand the contractual, but listen, you are getting paid net. You're gonna have questions because your pockets are affected. Now, like I said, we move on to the Spotify deal. Joe, number 4, I think I'm at. You're wrong. This is a strike against you again. Oh, hold on. Let me take it back for a second. You are paying them net. That means they are owners. They are partners. If they are straight employees, you either pay a person salary or you pay a person per hour. Any percentage of anything, they are partners. There's no other way around it. I'm a truck driver. I've been a part of a company where I got paid a salary. Been a company where I get paid by the miles, and I've been part of a company where I get paid a percentage. My pay stubs shows me what loads I took, how much they got paid for the loads. The person who pays me, their pay stub to me is showing me everything that the load comes with. This how much they took, this how much the broker took, this how was the fuel surcharge, and off of that, it was a total, and then I worked out what 11% or 21% or 30% was for me. My pay stub was their gross and what they got paid from the company, and they paid me. I worked for an owner operator, which I was making a percentage. I'm not saying I'm an owner in all their other businesses, but in this particular business, I was privy to everything that particular truck made that I was driving. I'm not saying I'm in their whole business, but everything that moved in that truck where I was pushing, that pay stub showed the gross and what they were paid to then pay me as a as a as a as a driver for a owner operator. Now, I bring that to you in the sense with Spotify. If you are paying Rory and Maul a percentage as a partner, The deal that Spotify gives you is a part of gross. They have to be aware in the know of what's going on. I hate that you said, yo, imagine their surprise when they found out they wasn't a part of the Spotify deal. Hey, I'm not even mad at that. I don't have to be a part of the Spotify deal. I'm a part of your deal. So whatever Spotify tells you, you go make the deal. But you have to come back and tell me. I do not care about an NDA. I do not care about that. I need to know the business you worked out because we get paid percentage off a net of what this podcast made. You just made a deal for the podcast, Joe. Why wouldn't I know what is going on? That's why this is strike 4. You have to inform them what is going on in the Spotify deal. You can't tell me, yo, I made a deal with them, I signed the NDA. Hey, you either have to tell Spotify, yo, these are my partners, or you just come back and tell us what you signed an NDA and tell us, yo, don't say nothing. Because I'm technically not supposed to say anything. But this is the breakdown of the deal. Now, Joe, let's talk about this Spotify deal. And you saying Rory and Maul just didn't understand it. They didn't know. I highly doubt Rory and Maul didn't know. They didn't know how business worked. They know how business worked, Joe. They just didn't understand the deal because you didn't tell them the deal. You say you didn't tell them the deal. And this leads to why that I'm not, Joe, I want to say this with all my heart as a fan and a supporter. I do not believe you robbed them. I do not believe you took advantage of them. I do believe you even overpaid. When you say you overpaid, I do believe that. I do believe that there was no discrepancy within the books. What I do believe also is they did not know the deal, so when they got the books, it looked like a discrepancy. That's what I think. That $400,000 discrepancy, as a fan, as a supporter, as a believer in what you do and how I want you to show up, I will hope there's not a $400,000 discrepancy. I would put my money and say they thought it was a discrepancy simply because they did not know the deal. What I believe the discrepancy was say Spotify paid you, like you said, yo, they paid quarterly. So when the deal came down and you finally signed off, it was probably in the middle of their quarter or whatever, right? Or at the end of the year, because I think it happened in September. However they would work out their books, they probably came to you and Ian and said, look, we'll pay you $400,000 right here, and so it don't affect my books, or this is Spotify talking, so it don't affect my books or whatever it, however it go, or if it just prorated at this point of this middle of the contract or middle of the thing. Hey, take this 4 here, and then we'll pay you the other 4 on the back end, or we'll pay you the other 4 at the beginning of the new quarter or the beginning of the new fiscal year. So it won't reflect on our books, but you'll still get your money. So I believe that was something you and Ian probably discussed with Spotify that Rory and Moya had no knowledge of. So when they got the books back and they seen, okay, why is there a $400,000 income here where it should have been an $8,000 income? It's a mistake right there. But they didn't have no they have no idea of the arrangement you made to where that would be correct in the 4 because the other 4 was coming later. You get what I'm saying? That's what I think happened because you didn't pass the knowledge on. So let's get back to the Spotify deal. When you create the Spotify deal and you don't tell them what's going on, all they have to go off is what the blogs say, right? In a sense, or what little did you tell them. Now, I believe there probably was money paid up front, like a little lump sum up front, and there was money given, like you said, quarterly throughout the year, or however that worked out, right? And I believe there may have been money only made once a certain amount of episodes was delivered. Now, for anybody listening, if you are into sports, right, you know some athletes have contracts where, let's take a football player. You make a certain amount of touchdowns, you pass a certain amount of yards, your deal, you get an extra $1 million or whatever. So when these sports players, when their contract comes out, you'll see like, this person just signed 3 years for $25 million. But they don't tell you they're only getting $20 million. 5 of that is if they hit incentives. I believe some of that contract that Joe got from Spotify was incentive based. And I'm pretty sure, 100% sure, it was incentive based. This is why the show went from 1 day a week to 2 days a week. 2 days a week for, I give or take a month off, right? Because it's entertainment. Or let's keep it even. It's 52 weeks in a year. Give them 50 weeks, 2 shows a week. They probably ask, on a 2-year deal, we need 100 episodes a year. And the way to pull that off is giving 2 episodes a week. This is why the Joe Budden Podcast, once they got with Spotify, went to 2 episodes a week. And I believe part of that 100 episode order per year was, once we get that, then you make this bonus, or then you make this dollar amount within your contract. And if you're not divulging this information to Maul and Rory, how would they know what is supposed to be in the books when they receive the books? Because if you give them the books in September and you give them the books in March, because, Rory and Maul say, you know what, we didn't want the books all the time. We just said like twice a year. Cool. All right, so we look 6 months later, whenever that is, and we see the deal is worth this, but so why are we getting paid these amounts? And you're not saying, that only comes in once we hit the 100 episode mark. So this money is not even going to hit till next September, because that's why we're doing 2 shows a week. Hold on. Look at that. Look how that worked. Joe Budden come on in the middle of my thing. That's how much I love you, Joe. That's how much I ride with Joe. I'm always watching Joe. He even comes up on here. That's how it works, right? But let's get to this. So you doing 2 shows a week. I'm pretty sure there was an incentive base at that point. And like I said, you didn't let them know, or you let them know, or whatever it was. But at the end of the day, when they're looking at the books and they don't know all the business, and they finally receive the books, this is how a discrepancy can be seen, or they don't understand the business, as you say. yo, y'all didn't know the business. I should have been better at that. All right, now we in the Spotify deal. And all the things that happened in the Spotify deal, that's on y'all. I don't know. I'm not really into getting into that. But let's take it back. You know what? I skipped a part. I skipped a part. Before the Spotify deal, when y'all was shopping around, you y'all missed episodes. I don't know how many episodes, but I know y'all missed. Is one vivid in my mind, at least one or two in my mind, that at the time we didn't know what happened. Y'all just said, "Oh, we missed the Wednesday," right? It came out later on the podcast that, yo, remember when we was fighting in the parking lot, or we was fighting in Park's backyard, or whatever? I know one I think was in the parking lot because they had discrepancies. Now, as a fan and a supporter, y'all never divulged who was on what side of the argument. That's not our business. I'm not here for that. But I am here to tell you, Joe, that's number 5, number 3.5, because I might have skipped. But that's number 5, your fault. You're creating a sense of entitlement. If you are the owner and you don't want anybody to get the lion's share once the money comes, you don't go to your employees and have fights with them about what we're doing. You go to them and say, this is what we're doing. That's simple. But you're creating a sense of entitlement and ownership. Yes, these are your homies. These are the people you care about. These are the people you love. These are the people you live with. So when we doing this show together and I'm like, yo, this is the offer, what you want to do or how you feel and all that, you're creating a sense of entitlement. You're creating a sense of ownership. If you don't want this to come back to you later, you can't give them that power. Even if you want to run it by them. Even if this is your man. Maul was your man. Joe, I wanted to say this to you. I know it hurt you. I know it still hurts you that Maul feel how he feels. I know for a fact, and I don't know you. I know for a fact you do not feel about Maul how Maul feels about you. I can tell. You love Maul. You still want to talk to Maul. You hate that it's like this. But since Maul has a thing for you, you have a thing for him. But you love Maul. I'm going to just say that on record. I want to put that on record. But even if Rory and Maul is your partners, you cannot have arguments about the direction of this show and not give them a sense of entitlement and ownership. So, fast forward. We in the Spotify deal. Or do I want to fast forward? No, you know what? Let's stay right there. Because this was in vital number 6. Your fault, creating a sense of entitlement. You gave them the power to go get ads. What will that blossom to, Joe? The power to think they can go and entertain ideas for where to move the podcast as a whole. This happened. I'm not saying this happened, but this is what the situation that y'all said. Rory said Elliot called him and he said to me, my recollection, as a friend, he asked him to lunch or I'm getting lunch, come through or whatever it happened. Are you in the area? Yo, let me put you on what title we're about to do. Roy said it wasn't a meeting. It was just him telling him as a friend. You felt it was a meeting. You got mad. You can't get mad, Joe. You created a sense of entitlement and ownership when you allowed them to speak on the pod's behalf to get ads. Why wouldn't they feel like they can't give an ear to where the direction of the podcast is gonna go? It goes hand in hand. You can't do it, or you can't feel bad about it. You can't come down and scream on Rory because he heard Elliot and brought it to you. And then whether or not Elliot came to you with the same thing, I'm not here to discuss that. That's on y'all. But you are creating an environment where they felt they could speak on the behalf, or at least give an ear on the behalf of the podcast, not just an ad. An ad brings in money, revenue, right? So why, if Elliot calls and say, "Hey, let me tell you about what's about to happen in another 3 months with Tidal. This is what they working up to do with podcasts. They want to open up a division." Why would you get mad at Roy for listening and bringing that back to you? You already gave them assistant entitlement. I don't know if that happened before the contracts or after the contracts, but if it happened after the contracts where you gave them percentage net, you're even more wrong. You're even more wrong. All right, now we can move on. We're in the Spotify deal, and as it comes out, right, as you said, that's when a lot of things kind of went haywire because the books wasn't being given, or whatever happened, or you said, and then the whole Spotify thing went south because they treated y'all away and whatever. We bring it all the way to the breakup now. Now we at the breakup. The breakup happens. You say to Maul, "Yo, this is my thing. This is my idea. Y'all don't work as hard. Y'all don't do this and do that. Y'all didn't want to do Patreon. Y'all didn't want to show up. I only was..." Hey, Joe. Back to my original point. If you feel like that, pay them as employees. Point blank, period. You cannot, the Spotify deal's gone. Now everybody's going to salary, all that. No, you can't go backwards. It'd be cool if everybody cool. If everybody cool, then everybody cool. Obviously, everybody wasn't cool. You can't say, "This is mine. This is my idea. Y'all lazy." Joe, we was there when it was getting nothing. If you would have paid us as it was getting nothing, even if it would have put you more in the hole, or you had to go do something that you didn't want, you had to go do some shows that you didn't want to do to pay them, whatever it was, then they wouldn't have no sense of entitlement or ownership. Whatever you brought to the table, you brought to the table. Whatever they brought to the table, they brought to the table. They seen it as a whole. That's it. You out your mouth said, "Yo, they came to me, said they want to be paid like I am." Cool. Let's go net. Percentage. Cool. If that's the thing, then that's the thing. You can't then later be mad because they don't want to go to salary. You can't later be mad that they feel entitled. You can't later be mad that they feel ownership. You can't later be mad that they feel like, "Yo, why are you paying this person this?" You cannot feel that way. You can't. I understand you are, because you human and you can feel, but I'm talking about business wise. You gave too much. You built too much an environment of feeling like, "Yo, this is us." Forget what Beanie Siegel said to Jay-Z and Dame Dash. "Oh, you made it feel like a family. Y'all was saying La Familia and all that." I'm talking about contractual, bringing conversations to, "Yo, this is what's going on. Yo, you can go eat what you kill, All these things create a sense of entitlement and ownership. Let me put this on the record, Joe. I'm gonna put this on the record for Maul and Rory too. I do not feel like they have a sense of entitlement. I do not feel like they have a sense of ownership. I believe they had ownership, and I feel like they were expected to get what they got out of it. I feel like they earned it. So it's not entitlement when you earn it. I want to put that on record. So this is not to come down on them at all. The entitlement part is because I'm painting a picture, really. I'm painting the picture of an environment you, Joe Budden, provided. So when it didn't work out in your favor and people felt a way, like, yo, you cannot just tell Rory to stay home, bro, and for me to come into work. Yes, Joe, this is your idea. Yes, Joe, you've been a music star for a long time. Yes, Joe, this is your baby. This is your name on it. But we have rights to this. Whether we've been lazy or not, we did our part, you did your part. Anybody who else don't understand that, let me break it down to something different. Say I start a t-shirt company and I make the t-shirts, I buy the t-shirts. For whatever reason, I cannot deliver the t-shirts. I cannot send them off to be delivered or packaged or whatever, right? But I make them, I pay for the shirts, I pay for the paint or the prints to go on them and all that. I have my man come and go, yo, I can't really pay you right now, but when this thing get popping, I got you. Just grind it out with me. What I need you to do is deliver these shirts for me. What I need you to do, go to the post office and drop these off, pay for shipping, bring the receipt back or hold on to the receipt when it get popping. Yo, I'm going to get you. I'm going to get you right. My man, when that big order comes in and we start making money and I start to break him off and say we get a $100,000 order or whatever, right? And I go, yo, for all your hard work throughout the time, I know you held me down. Here's 10,000. Might be cool. It might have been even worth the job he did. But if he knows I got 100,000, my man may feel entitled to say, yo, you just got 100. All you gonna do is give me 10. You can't give me 20, 25. Yo, I understand you did what you did, but you couldn't have got them things delivered on time, and you wouldn't have got the good name in business if it wasn't for me delivering these. I believe that deserves something too. You get what I'm saying? You create an environment of entitlement. So if Rory and Maul didn't work a lot, or they didn't want to work more because they didn't understand what you were trying to do with the Patreon and all of this, and you becoming creative director of Patreon and everything else like on that nature, and they not understanding all the ins and outs of the business and what you're trying to do. Come on, Joe. You can't come at them like that. You created this. This is why it's your fault. Let me address the stealing. This is major to me because, like I said, I've been a supporter of Joe Budden for a long time. I'm not in the books. I'm not there in conversations, right? I'm a fan. I'm strictly a fan with no knowledge of anything. Just like the $400,000 discrepancy, I want to bet my heart. I bet my heart. I do not want to believe that Joe was stealing. Not from his mans. Not from his peoples. He may have stole from whoever else. I don't want to believe he stole from Rory and Maul. I do understand Rory and Maul where they may feel you stole. Again, you go into Spotify and you don't tell them the deal. they have to find out they can't know the deal because they're not a part of the deal, as your words. You go to Complex, create Everyday Struggle. You go to Revolt and you create State of the Union. It's nothing in me to make me believe. It's nothing in you. It's nothing that you can tell me. And there's nothing in me to make me believe you did not use the numbers for the podcast, the numbers for the tours, to bring to Everyday Struggle and go, yo, look at what I'm doing over here. Look what I'm doing on Spotify. Look what I'm doing on YouTube. Look what I'm doing on SoundCloud. Look what the tour doing. Yo, let me get this show. I got this show idea. Let me get this show. We gonna make it Everyday Struggle. That's you get off that because you don't like the dealings with how they do ads and whatever else happened, right? You go to Diddy. Yo, Diddy, look what the podcast doing. Look what the tour is doing. Look what I did with Everyday Struggle. Yo, we can create that over here. Let's get the State of the Culture going. I say all that to say, is Rory and Mal entitled to the money you get from that? No. Because that's your own thing, right? Even though you probably use the numbers. Not even say probably. Even though I know you use the numbers for the podcast included in your analytics. It would be bad business not to include the numbers. Right? It would be bad business not to include those numbers. So when you include those numbers, do I believe they're old part of that? No. But part of that you get from them, you could have placed it in the podcast, in this venture, that venture, in what else you had? This show you did with Russ. It's called I forgot the interview show right now. I'm drawing a blank. You did that interview show. I'm pretty sure you put whatever you got from Spotify, I'm pretty sure you put that back into the podcast. I'm not saying everything, but I'm pretty sure you put whatever numbers and all of that you got, wherever you got it, into the podcast, into this show, into that show, right? Into your wardrobe. And I bring that up for a reason. When you are, even though you're not entitled to give it to them because now you're trying to branch off and create other things, even though you use these numbers, analytics to create these other shows, I'm pretty sure you did. When they do not know the business, Roy and Mal don't know the business because you're not telling them, and they see these moves being made, and they know what you're providing for as the numbers in these podcasts is getting this in this. It has to be a part of your analytics. I can see why they say you're I believe that you overpaid. Because you say it now. Yo, the way y'all do for me, I'm buying everybody a gift. Yo, the numbers is up. Yo, I believe it was up when it was you, Rory, and Mal in Parks. I believe numbers what it was. And the Spotify made it even better, right? But when they don't know the business, and you may have money's coming from over here and money's coming over from over there, and they don't know the business, which they should know the business simply because they are partners within the business, they would know the breakdown. Oh, you know what? He got the Mary hat from State of the Culture. He got that from Everyday Struggle money, because we know the podcast money. But since we don't know the podcast money, because you didn't want to give us the books, you didn't want to tell us the Spotify deal, we assuming everything is everything. We don't know what's coming from where. So to us, it's all coming from us. It's all coming from us because our numbers is part of your analytics to get everything else. So let's keep it that simple. If we knew what was coming from the podcast and simply from the podcast numbers, because we seen the books and we got a consistent understanding of seeing the books and how them books work. And now when we incorporate, Patreon, that's gonna make that go here. That's gonna make this number do this. We see that. But when we don't get none of that, we just gonna make a blanket statement and go, you know what? All this is us. Cause really, it kind of is. And like I said, from me being me, I'm talking about me as a fan. I don't think they should be owed everyday struggle numbers. I don't think they should be owed state of the culture numbers. Because even with them, I don't think you're owed what Rory want to do outside of the actual podcast. I don't think you're owed what Maul want to do outside of the podcast. If they were to use those numbers to get a deal somewhere else and do another venture, I think y'all all should be use the numbers. Show them this, show them that. Here. Go get to it. I believe you wanted that. You said that. Go get this show, create a show, you and this, and this. I believe you are open to, use the numbers, go get it. So this is the reason why I'm saying they're not owed your numbers, but when you are not given the business and you are coming in with a new car or hat, clothes, new set, save on getting a raise, money's over here getting spent, this and that, and we don't know the business to nothing, and you giving us bits and pieces, you know what? You stealing. And the reason you giving us bits and pieces is because you stealing. It's simple. I don't believe you stole, Joe. It's in my heart as a supporter of you to believe you didn't steal. I don't believe you stole. I do believe you overpaid because that was your man. You came from a system. Like I said, this is all creating an understanding of your mentality, Joe, is what I'm doing here. You came from being a rapper in a system where you didn't like how the system worked. So when you created your own system, you always was going to look out. Like you kept saying, it can't be about money. You're getting paid too much for it to be about money. I believe in you, Joe. I believe in you. I believe you never wanted to vote. You hated the voting system. You hated, this is the situation of the podcast. What y'all think? Damn, y'all don't want to go. We still gonna go this direction anyway. I'm glad you said that on your last Spotify show. I'm glad y'all stuck with me. Y'all believed in me. Y'all rolled with my decision because I'm pretty sure when it came to the podcast, you did have final say so. I'm pretty sure in that. That's cool. If y'all agree with that, cool. Long as we gotta say so, long as you really take our gripes and our point of views into consideration, we'll end wherever you put us. But really take note to what we believe in too. I'm cool with all of that. If y'all agree to whatever y'all agree to, I'm cool with that. But you create an environment of entitlement and ownership. One more thing before I end this podcast situation. The last thing I wanted to talk about is the tour. Maul mentioned, I forgot exactly what he mentioned, but he was saying, why are we getting paid $2,000? Why are we getting paid the same when we do a 2,000 seater here, but then get paid the same when we do a 25 100-seater in this particular venue. And again, Joe, you did not tell them the business. On tour, if they're getting paid percentage and all that, if it's still the same as the podcast, right? That's what I'm going by. They got to know the business. Maul's been around the business for how long? Roy did the Henny Palooza, then the Duce Palooza, all the same thing, right? They know how venues work. They know how promoters work. They know how. I'm 100% sure they didn't. It wasn't a thing. They didn't read their contract, Joe. I'm 100% sure it's not a thing. They just didn't know. They knew that. I looked at it as a rhetorical question. I looked at it as him calling, yo, your business acumen may not be what we thought it was. I'm not saying it was. I'm saying to people who don't know, if you don't know, let me break it down for you. In most cities in America and around the world, they have different venues, different levels of venues, I should say. For these recording artists or whatever artists or whatever show it is, they have venues to where it may be a standing room only. It may be a 1,000-seater, 2,000-seater, 3,000-seater, 5,000 stadium, right? There's levels in pretty much every city. Every major city or small, mid-major city you want to say, right? When you're booking a tour, it's either one promoter booking the whole tour, like a Live Nation or something like that, right? Or you're booking your own tour where you're working with a promoter within the city or something like that, or like a spot date or whatever. Or you're working with a particular venue, right? But say you're working, what I believe the Joe Budden Podcast was doing was probably working with particular promoters in every city. Every city, it wasn't like a Live Nation where they just took care of every venue and we're just going to put you at this venue because whatever. But in every city you go to, you get your analytics and say, you know what, these number of people may come out to this show in Chicago. This amount of people will come out in LA. This amount of people come out in Miami. This amount of people come out in Houston. This amount of people will come out in Charlotte. This amount of people may come out in Nashville. This amount of people may come out in Kansas City. Right? You might, and what you try to do is get venues around the same capacity, right? Number of seats. I believe Joe did a deal where he didn't want to worry about door money. He didn't want to worry about concessions money. He just wanted to get a flat fee for all whoever he had to come with, right? Give me a flat fee for all the venues. When I show up, I get paid my flat fee. I don't have to worry about who comes and who fills up what, right? About all the cities we go to, we got anywhere from 2,000 to 3,000 fans that'll come out, book any venue according to that. And if we got 2,000 coming out, and it may be, say we got 2,000 coming out in LA, right? If there's a venue that seats 1,000, book it for 2 nights. If there's a venue that seats 3,000, book it for 1 night. Not that you want 1,000 open seats, but with certain setups or whatever. But, or if it's, say if it's a venue that seats 2,500, book it for one night if on the 2,000. But say we got 3,000 people who we know will come out for us because the analytics show that. But there's a 2,500 seater. I book the 2,500 seater, and then we'll catch the other 5,000 on the next time, right? Because most people are not going to come out for two shows, right? So if there's 3,000, why would you book the 2,500 seater for 2 nights? Because then you'll have 2,000 extra seats open, right? Because the people hit the show the first night. But you also wouldn't book the next venue up, which probably like 5,000 to 8,000. You get what I'm saying? For 3,000 people. So you kind of gotta take the L. So if you go into a city and you just saying, hey, just give me a flat fee and just book this particular venue in every city because we going on like a 7-city, 10-city tour or whatever, and you don't want to worry about actual seats, you'll get the percentage. You'll just get the flat fee. So when Maul's saying, yo, why are we getting paid this and this and this? Maybe Maul's perspective is, yo, if we talking to promoters and we know we got this number, let's say, yo, we get the ticket sales, whether online or at the door or whatever, and you keep concessions in whatever. It's because some people be like, yo, I want ticket sales, I want part of the concessions. If the venue is this, I need this much at this venue. If we going out here, I need this much at that venue. Like, it depends on who you are working with and what deal structure you're doing. So I feel like Maul may be the type that goes with the, if this is the venue and I believe I could bring this many people out and I believe this many people is going to spend this much on concessions, we going to bring our own merch, we going to have this many walk-ups, we going to have this many VIPs over here. Yo, let's really detail this thing and break that down like that. Maul might be one of those. I believe Joe, coming from doing like New Haven, Connecticut, and to jump it up, and like pump it up and all of those things, not being like a major artist touring like that, he may just look at it like, listen, just give me a flat fee, bro. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to worry about if 2,000 come out here and 25 come out here. Just give me my one fee. We'll break that down, split that up, and call it a day, and we keep it moving. I'm trying to make my way up. I ain't hit the lick that I want yet. You know what I'm saying? So I believe that's the type of guy Joe is. More, like I said, they may have two different philosophies. And when he made that statement, I just believe the whole thing, back to everything else, which ties in, they didn't know the business. Not that they didn't understand the business. They didn't know the business. And if you don't know the business, where you feel like you should know the business, especially you're saying when the argument comes and you talking about this is mine and this is all because of me, and more, like I said, more is like, no, this is because of us and all that type of stuff. Hey, listen. But at the end of the day, Joe is 100% wrong. I had to get this off my chest. I had to say this. But Joe, you are 100% wrong. You created an environment for entitlement and ownership. Like I said, I do not believe Roy and Maul felt entitled. I do not feel like they even felt like owners. I think they was cool with understanding this was your shit, really. This is your direction. and you had the final say so, but they earned what they earned. If they was lazy about it and you still gave them a percentage, they could be lazy. Some companies have lazy owners. Some company, the owner is lazy, and the CEO does all the work. A lot of assistants do a lot of work for the managers, and a lot of assistants at whether it be McDonald's or corporate 500 companies. A lot of assistants may feel like I do more work than my manager, and he gets all the credit. It's a part of life. This is a part of American society, I'm gonna say. Hey, if they were contractually, you agreed to pay them a percentage, they are owners. They are partners. There's no way around it. You created this environment, Joe. It's 100% your fault. I'm off this now, though. Joe, this was a couple years ago. I know y'all still go back and forth here and there. But I always just wanted to put this out there. I just wanted to speak my piece on it. It was just in my head for so long. But I know we moved on. 2024 now. I'm doing this in 2024. I wanted to make that on record. I understand we moved on, Joe. I'm a friend of the show. Like I said, I still support you. I still believe in you. Not like a god or nothing. You my man's type. You know what I'm saying? So I believe in you. I still mess with Roy and Maul. I'm still their top tier. I'm not their top tier because that top tier is like 50,000 to be with Jay-Z or some stupid, funny whatever. But Joe, now I kind of just want to speak on the podcast as it is today. And if you do see this, I just kind of, not that you're gonna take my advice, but I'm just trying to get all my feelings out, right? I want to say, Joe, I appreciate you. Thank you for all your words and your lyrics. Thank you for all your words on the podcast. Very entertaining. I'm riding with you forever. Hey, none of the rumors have or I hope will ever have an effect on me to the point where I don't mess with you anymore. I'm talking about any rumor that ever came out is never stopped me. I've never stopped for 1 second. I've continued to support you and watch every show. Thank you. Thank you. I want to say, now I'm kind of just want to get into the podcast right quick. Melissa Ford, I appreciate you being on the podcast. I think it was the Drink Champs. I believe it was the Drink Champs where you was speaking and I kind of liked you on the Drink Champs, kind of like intellectually, you know what I'm saying? So that was a big eye opener for me because like I didn't listen to the Hollywood Unlocked or anything, so I'm not that type of person. Well, that's not my thing. But when I seen you on Drink Champs, that opened the intellectual eyes to you that I really appreciated, especially coming from a beautiful woman. And I just feel like you just need to speak more. I need you to really get in there. Flip, I definitely supported you since, I guess, URL. And I kind of really got to know you. I don't know. Somehow I found you through YouTube, watching the callers, and I think I was before the callers and all that. But I'm glad you coming back with all your content. I was a subscriber to your Patreon at one point in time, but I stopped because you stopped. You you were the first Patreon person I subscribed to simply because you were the only person that I watched, or whatever you want to say, that created enough content to ever subscribe and pay somebody. You had like the callers, you had the interrogation room, you had Shem, Pooh. You was doing a lot. You was doing a lot to where I felt like that's worth the money. The content is worth the money. So I'm very proud of you, Flip, for coming on to the Joe Budden podcast and doing your thing. I've been watching you for like, and it may be about 7-8 years now. I don't know now, but yeah. We gonna move to Ish. Ish, I appreciate you coming on the podcast. I appreciate you and your knowledge. And I'm 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 happy to learn and hear from your thoughts. I don't have an issue with anything when I say this. I just want you to stop saying, "Yo, we can't say that. We can't say that." No, you can say it. I want you to know, Ish, you can say it. And when I say you can say it, I'm talking about all the controversial women topics. As a man, you're not supposed to say this. You can say it. And it's not that you're special in any way, right? I'm not coming off like that. I'm saying you're on the Joe Budden podcast. To your left is Joe Budden. Joe Budden, more than likely, probably about 95% of the time, is going to say something controversial. So if you say something controversial, you will more than likely be overshadowed by Joe Budden's controversy. So get yours off, because he's definitely going to say something that's going to overshadow it anyway. So get yours off. I want you to get yours off because it brings delight to me. Not saying you'll do it for me, but you can do it. Ice. I've been wanting to say this to you since I found out you was a in the house dude. This is not a shot at you being in the house. I think it's pretty dope that now learning that you was in the house, I think it's pretty dope and pretty ironic and pretty thing like light bulb. Like, it makes so much sense that you, like, they call you an inside dude, right? In the house dude growing up. That you were the king or one of the kings of Black Twitter. Like, the nerd was the king of the computer app type thing. You get what I'm saying? That is so fitting. It's like so fitting. Like, the nerd made all the jokes, all the people mad. He was the inside dude who did that. That's so fitting of society that you were that guy. Officially Ice. I'm proud of you, man. Like it's dope to me. It's very dope that you, the inside, the nerd guy, was that guy. I'm just saying it in the order that I'm remembering, like, Patreons of recent, right? I'm gonna say Imani. Imani, you bringing good energy right now. I need you to keep that up. You bringing a lot of good conversations. I like that. I mean, you shouldn't be scared to talk, but I like that you're just very talkative. You're not sitting on the side. You bring a lot of talking points. I thank you for that. Parks, Parks, Parks. See what I did there? See what I did there, Parks? Parks. I'm gonna say this. You do live up to the energy Maul gave you. You know, as a fan of the podcast, I do believe you take Joe's side a lot. I'm hearing Ish and Flip say this, so they're kind of noticing it. But I do believe right now you are kind of giving a little pushback, right? Now I'm gonna say I'm not mad at you taking Joe's side on a lot of the arguments or being neutral to his stances because I understand you've been working with Joe so much. And the understanding I have with you, Parks, from me and my viewpoint is you feel like I've been around Joe, I kind of learned him. I've been around him for years, I learned him, and you feel like the Joe Budden whisperer, as I think you once stated at one point. So in that, in bringing uh trying to bring everything together when things kind of go left with Joe and trying to be the Joe whisperer to other people, even though they may have been around as long as you, like with Maul and Roy or Ish or whatever, but you taking the stance of I am the Joe whisperer, I understand how you end up on his side. So I ain't mad at it. I'm definitely not mad at it. And I understand how you kind of gonna naturally I don't know if you're taking up for him or it's like, yo, I want to smooth this out or I'm not trying to let it go too far or I'm trying to stay in this pocket to where this whole thing keeps moving like a well-oiled machine. So I'm kind of gonna say things to to try to not be as harsh as Joe, like to be his speaking, like his speaking point in a cool kind of way. So I'm definitely not mad at you. I'm not one of those guys who's mad at Parks. I'm gonna say, Joe, these next couple things going to you, far as the movement of the pod. Kino, I like him. He's bringing a lot of talking points. He's bringing good energy. I like it. I'm I know you building it out. Keep that. Keep Kino. I appreciate you. I'm gonna need Corey to come from the kitchen. I need Corey to come from the background, and I need you to make your Imani path. Imani didn't want to come from the background. He got on the part or two. He made his way. I see Corey starting to make his way. Corey, you talking a lot in that kitchen. I'm gonna need you to come to the pod. I see you making your way. This is your year, 2024. This is Corey's year. Joe, I'm gonna need more Mo. I need more Mo on the podcast. To be honest with you, Joe, I love Mo on the podcast. She's bringing the energy. She's giving me the same energy that I got with Melissa Ford when I seen her on Drink Champs. Drink Champs. She's giving me that energy. Very beautiful, very intelligent, a lot of perspective. And I love that. Mo, I want to tell you, I think you're very dope. I think it's really words I can't describe because I kind of dig you like that. But I feel like you're bringing a good I think you're bringing a good energy. I really dig you, right? This goes to Joe. and Flip. Flip, you might be mad at this one. I really don't know. I'm just playing, but I think you might be mad at this one. Mac Mustang gotta come to the pod. It's no longer Flip Network for Mac Mustang. She got too much. She got too much energy. Beautiful. Too much. Too much conversation. Perspective. She could handle herself in the room. I need her on the Joe Budden Podcast, Patreon, whatever, twice a month, however y'all work it out. Flip, we taking her from you. Joe got that. It just is what it is. Mac, directly to you. I appreciate you. I appreciate the energy you bring in, the conversation you bring in. I need you to pack your bags, move to New Jersey. I need you on the podcast. Not for the Joe Budden Podcast though. I need you on the Joe Budden Podcast twice a month, like I just said. But I have another show. This goes to Joe. I don't know the name of this show. In my head, I just called it Eminem. I just called the show Eminem, Joe. I know we had See the Thing Is. I know we had the show with Karen Civil. I can't think of the name right now. But we back, Joe. It's called Eminem. Melissa Ford, Mo, and Mac. Eminem. I hope you get it. It's all M&M's in the bag. All M's in the bag. It's a bag, Joe. I need that show, Joe. The Eminem show. Melissa, Mo, and Mac. Let's get to it. And just off the love. Just off the love because it's on my mind. Asia. I need you to go to Flip Network. I need you to get on the callers. I need you to get on Talk to the King. I need you to get on the interrogation room. I'm not saying go crazy. I need you to get your voice up. I seen you sitting with Imani on the last joint. You was about to speak, but you didn't get your voice out there. I don't know if you have something good to say. I don't really know, but I'm trying to figure it out. But you ain't the last two, this past one and the last one last year when you and Mac first came on, you didn't get a lot of words out. The first time y'all was on, you were kind of y'all was kind of like the guest host, you know what I'm saying? Like the guest of the show. So they kind of came to you with the questions. Now you going to be on the pod. I'm going to need you to, hey, you know, I got something to say. Yo, shut up. I need you to get your voice in there. Mac, do it. So right now, I'm going to need you to go to Flip. Get your voice up. Then we can figure this out. We can figure if we got room for you. But right now, I just wanted to throw that to you. That I see you. I'm watching. I'm a watcher. I'm a real supporter. So I feel like you got something to say. I just don't know. But you talk less than Melissa. But like I said, Melissa, Mo, and Mac. That's your girl pod, Joe. That's it right there. I need you to put that together. I need you to work that out. Now I'm in this thing. I got everything off my chest, off my brain. I don't know if this ever gonna be seen by you, Joe, but it's gonna be in the universe. I just want you to know I appreciate you. Like I said, I will always be a supporter. And I just thank you for walking this journey in my mind. Peace.